West, the old school patriot, and just want to welcome you to another one of our Facebook Live events. It's a time where I get to spend about 30 minutes to give thoughts, perspectives, and insights and share them with you, but also have a chance to answer some of your questions that you'll be posting here on the Facebook Live page. I want to thank the folks from the East Texans for Liberty for this really nice, cool button-down collared shirt that they presented to me. I really enjoy it, and I love wearing it, and I'm glad to show it off to everyone out there on Facebook. Well, let me also just say that my second book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death, will be coming out October the 16th. You can go to Amazon.com and you can pre-order it. And we'll also put up some of the opportunities for some book signings that we are getting lined up to do in Texas, and even one down in South Alabama in the Mobile area. So all you good Crimson Tide fans, you'll get a chance to poke some fun at me, this old Tennessee volunteer, when I come down to Alabama for a book signing. Also, I want to thank all the people for our Facebook and our website administrator, Marie. I want to thank our technical support team because they do a fantastic job making sure that we're always up and you have a very professional looking website. I want to thank our special operations team and also our discussion group for all that they do to continue to share the thoughts and the pages that we're writing each and every day and spread a little bit of knowledge. Upcoming, I'll be heading down to South Padre Island on this Friday to speak to the Texas Young Republicans. And I'm looking forward to that because those young men and women are the future of this great constitutional republic. And once again, I just want to say happy Constitution Day yesterday, 231 years for the world's longest running constitutional republic. It's a great thing to live in these great place that we call the United States of America. But as I said, it's a republic if you can keep it. Those are the words that Benjamin Franklin replied to Mrs. Powell's inquiry about whether we had a republic or a monarchy. So we must fight every single day to make sure that we keep this republic and we pass it on to subsequent generations. And then this Saturday, I'll be heading back down to Cayman Brac Island to do a little diving with our Dive Pirates Foundation. I am personally sponsoring a Marine major, a former Marine major by the name of Wahid Khan, who is well known in the reconnaissance Marine community. He lost the use of his legs, and we just wanted him to enjoy a great scuba diving trip. So that's where I'll be Sunday. I'll be back to the United States of America next Wednesday. Well, let's get down to really what's on everyone's mind. It is definitely on my mind. And as of me starting this Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, East Coast Time, we have not heard from the accuser, this Dr. Blasey Ford, of the accusations that she has levied against Judge Brett Kavanaugh. You know, the Judicial Committee, the Senate Judicial Committee, Chairman Grassley's office has reached out to her. They have offered to allow her to come and give her story, her testimony, next Monday before the Senate Judiciary Committee under oath. But for whatever reason, there have been no replies to her calls. There have been no responses from her lawyer. And I've been reading that her lawyer has some very interesting associations. I believe that she's affiliated with the George Soros organization. That doesn't surprise me whatsoever. It shouldn't surprise you. But let's really sit down and chronologically look at this accusation. Let's look at what has all of a sudden been dropped in the laps of the American people as we try to go through this Senate confirmation hearing for President Trump's second Supreme Court Justice nomination, and that is Judge Brett Kavanaugh. For what we all know and understand, that back in July, there was a letter given to Senator Dianne Feinstein of California. The letter supposedly was from an anonymous person. Now, for whatever reason, Senator Feinstein had this letter, and this letter was bringing allegations against a sitting federal judge at the time. See, that's what people don't understand. Brett Kavanaugh is still a sitting judge on the D.C. Circuit Court. So if these were such grave accusations, then why weren't they brought forward back in July by Senator Feinstein at that time? Then we also know that this person who said that she wanted to remain anonymous for whatever reason in August, well, she got a lawyer. And then she also decided to take a polygraph test. Now, everyone of you who knows a little bit about legal matters, you know that a polygraph test is not admissible into a court of law. But if this person really wanted to remain anonymous, then why back in August did they decide to get a lawyer and take a polygraph test? Things that make you go, Now, of course, Senator Feinstein had the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Nothing was said. We went through that incredible charade, all the histrionics and all the antics that we saw in the judicial confirmation hearings a couple of weeks ago. Nothing was said about this letter. Now, all of a sudden, when it seems that everything is just pro forma, because the Democrats, who have already come out and said they're not going to vote for Judge Kavanaugh, well, we were supposed to have this vote this Thursday. And then last week, we had this bombshell, this anonymous letter that leaked out. And then over the weekend, this Dr. Ford went to the Washington Post and came forward. These allegations are 36 years old, and it has to do with a teenage Brett Kavanaugh with this woman, Miss Ford, accusing Mr. Kavanaugh at the time, young Mr. Kavanaugh, of sexually assaulting her, groping her, holding her down. She was in fear for her life. But the thing is that the only other person that was mentioned has said he doesn't remember anything about it. As a matter of fact, I believe his name is Mark Judge, has already sent a statement to the Judiciary Committee, says that he has no recollection of this ever happening. And he is not going to come and show up because there's no need of him showing up for something that never happened. And he said, my statement is going to be my only submission. So we now are at a point where the left, the progressive socialist left, and I do think this is a political Hail Mary, that they're trying to hold up a judicial confirmation hearing over something that is 36 years old, that they knew about back in July, but they did not bring up. Now, all of a sudden, they're bringing up and they're asking for an FBI investigation. Let me tell you something about an FBI investigation. This beyond the statute of limitations. This is not something that they can convict someone on. So why would you want to waste FBI resources to go back and do what? What are they supposed to investigate? As a matter of fact, Brett Kavanaugh has already undergone 6 background investigations. We don't need another background investigation. And let me just drop a little hint. If there's anything that the FBI should be investigating right now, it should be investigating the former Secretary of State, John Kerry, and other Obama administration officials who have been meeting with the Iranians and giving them advice about the Iranian nuclear agreement, advice that is contrary to the sitting presidential administration. That's called a violation of the Logan Act, when unauthorized persons are dealing in matters of foreign policy with a country that is in dispute with the United States of America. So this whole thing about the FBI needs to expend resources to investigate Judge Brett Kavanaugh, they don't. If the FBI is to be used properly, it should be to investigate, and there should be an indictment, because John Kerry already admitted it in an interview that he had been meeting with the Iranians. He is not authorized to meet with a country that is an adversary of the United States of America to talk about foreign policy, to try to undermine the policy of this current administration. But lest I digress. So here we are now, we're sitting around. Judge Kavanaugh has already said, yep, I'll sit down under oath, but maybe Miss Dr. Ford doesn't want to be under oath. She doesn't want to be under oath if she's trying to negotiate, or someone from her legal defense are trying to negotiate the terms by which she should sit before the Senate Judiciary Committee. I think something's wrong. You know, Senator Susan Collins of Maine made a great recommendation. She said very simply, maybe we should have a lawyer, a representative that cross-examines Judge Kavanaugh, and then someone cross-examine from, Judge Kavanaugh selects to cross-examine Dr. Ford. Seems pretty fair to me. I mean, I don't know what Judge Kavanaugh is going to say. I would say that he would just sit there and continue to say, I have nothing to say about something that never happened, because that's what he has said. So how are we supposed to make an inquiry on to a person about something that he says has never happened. And as a matter of fact, we continue to hear about countless amounts of people that know Judge Kavanaugh, even people, women who dated him at that same period of time, to say that that's not the kind of guy that he is. And in his life, we have not seen a pattern of predatory behavior unless he has really been a good trickster of people. So what are we supposed to investigate? See, this is the real ploy. Without a doubt, this is political calculus. This is what the progressive socialist left does so very well, following the playbook of Saul Alinsky. They have taken a target in Judge Brett Kavanaugh, and they have frozen it. They are trying to isolate it, and now they're trying to pile on. There is no reason for us to stall or delay or continue on. If this person, Dr. Ford, does not come forward within the next 24 to 36 hours and say that she is willing to sit down on Monday, then this thing should be dropped. If she was really convicted in what she's saying with these allegations and accusations, she should have jumped on it. Immediately say, yes, I'll be there. I will be there under oath on Monday to speak before the Senate Judiciary Committee. But the fact that you cannot get any response from her legal representation or from herself, that kind of makes me question what's going on. But this is what the left had really thought, that the Republicans would try to run away from this. Now, personally, I don't think that I would have allowed it to have a public forum, because I don't think we need any more, theater of the absurd like we saw a couple of weeks ago with the confirmation hearing. But hat tip to Senator Grassley to say, hey, bring it. Sit here in public in front of the American people, but you'll be under oath. And I don't think that that's something that the Democrats thought would happen. I thought that they could continue to operate in the dark, in the shadows. And if there's one thing that darkness hates, it's being brought into the light. See, this is all a political charade. They want to push this as far as they can past the midterms, because they truthfully believe that, maybe they can hold on and take the Senate away from the Republicans. And then they can force the type of nominee that they want upon President Trump. We need to press forward with this thing. And I think that it is good that they have already said that next Wednesday they're going to vote in the Senate Judiciary Committee on Brett Kavanaugh and get it to the Senate floor for a full vote. But what the Democrats are counting on is for Republicans to once again be seen as conducting a war on women. But let me ask you something. When are we supposed to believe women? I mean, that's what everyone is saying. We have to believe Dr. Ford, just the same as we had to believe the women that were accusing Judge Roy Moore during the special election back in Alabama. But funny thing happened on the way to the polls in Alabama. As soon as Doug Jones won that Senate special election in Alabama, we heard nothing else from those accusers. We heard nothing else about allegations against Judge Roy Moore. But funny, isn't it, how the exact same, theory is not applied to the individual that's brought allegations against Representative Keith Ellison, who is the second in command in the Democrat National Committee, the DNC. Here's Keith Ellison, who is running for Attorney General in Minnesota, and someone has brought allegations against him about physical and sexual abuse, not from 36 years ago, but within the last year. But don't worry about that. You shouldn't believe her. Keith Ellison is a great guy. The Democrat Party of Minnesota gave him their full endorsement. He's going to be the top law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota as Attorney General. Why is it that we could not believe women like Paula Jones and Juanita Broaddrick when it came to Bill Clinton? Why is it that a person like Ted Kennedy gets to drive a car off of a perfectly good road and bridge into the Chappaquiddick River and kill little Mary Jo, but he's the lion of the Senate? Who are the people that sit back and tell us which women we're to believe? Because if I recall right, poor little Monica Lewinsky, a young intern that was sexually abused by sitting president of the United States of America, everyone told us character doesn't matter. It's not about morality. It's only about the economy. So when are we supposed to believe who? Because in this highly charged political environment, it seems to me that this whole thing about bringing allegations against men, it only tends to work one way. Now, you may say Al Franken, yeah, but there were pictures of Al Franken, and I think that kind of sealed his fate. But when we sit back and look at Dr. Ford and what she has alleged from 36 years ago, why wasn't that brought up when Brett Kavanaugh was nominated for the circuit court? I mean, if you're that concerned. Let me tell you something else. As a dad of two daughters, if someone had tried to do that to my daughters in their teenage years, you would be guaranteed that I would know immediately. And I would take it to the police, because the police would have to clean up the mess that I would make of the young boy that tried to do that to my daughters. 36 years. People knew about this letter in July, said nothing. As Brett Kavanaugh sat face to face with Dianne Feinstein, nothing. As Brett Kavanaugh sat there in front of Kamala Harris and Spartacus, you know what I'm talking about, Senator Cory Booker, they said nothing. Now, all of a sudden, when everything seems that it is just going to happen without them being able to stop it, they bring up this letter from 36 years ago, is the allegation. I don't know. Yes, I believe that you should always believe someone, especially women, when they talk about being physically or sexually abused. But there are just too many loopholes and gaps and backstories that go along with this. And again, I want to go back to this assertion. When I started this Facebook Live, no one had heard from Dr. Ford or her legal representation as to her accepting the offer of the Senate Judiciary Committee to come and testify under oath next Monday. The clock's ticking. The American people are watching. And the Democrats tend to believe that we're just going to hate the Republicans and fall in line with this war on women thing all over again, because that's really what they want to have. But I think that the American people are getting tired of the progressive socialists of the Democrat Party using women as well. The Alinsky tactics of threats, intimidation, coercion, mandates, accusations, character assassinations, and yes, violence are the tools that the left believes in. Because for them, their ideological agenda, they live by one simple code: by any means necessary, so that they can be the dominant ideology in the United States of America. We got to be smarter than what they think we are. And how do you finally bring consequences on a party that is so lacking of integrity, lacking of moral character? You do it to them at the ballot box. And I hope that everyone will remember the antics of Dianne Feinstein and the left as we head to the ballot box in November. Because the last thing that the United States of America would need are people like this to be in control of our constitutional republic. And with that being said, let's go see what y'all are talking about over here. Patty Day Woods, follow the money. And you're right, Patty, you have to follow the money. And this is one of the things that I've read, that this lawyer for Dr. Ford, she has some interesting associations herself with some Soros funded organizations. Gregory Luce, this is a real tough Cajun name. Deja vu of Justice Clarence Thomas Lucignot, another high-tech lynching, only this of a white man. You're absolutely right. And I think every one of us that can remember the Anita Hill, episode, we see that happening right here. But for some odd reason, Dr. Ford is not coming forward. So let's see. Maybe she will within the next 24, 36 hours. But I tend to believe that they're trying to figure out how to back out of this now, because they never believed that Chuck Grassley would say, sure, come out of the darkness into the light and give us the chance to ask you questions. And I've heard people say that the Republicans have to be careful about how they ask her questions. I just think everyone wants the truth. Everyone's going to be sympathetic. Everyone's going to be compassionate. But when you are trying to destroy a person's reputation, when you're trying to assassinate their character, think about Judge Kavanaugh's family. His family had to be escorted out of the Senate hearings because of the antics of the left. Now, this is what his daughters have to hear and go through. Who's going to be sympathetic to him and compassionate to him? See, that's not one of the character traits of the left. Celia Gaynor, that's the Democrats. You're correct. Overpasses for America, ballot box. Absolutely right. Randolph Begley, Arkansas here. Woo Pig Sooie. Fred A. McNeil, vote red in November. I think that's so important. Hey, Quinnipiac poll just came out and said that Ted Cruz is up by 9 over Robert Francis O'Rourke. I don't know about this Hispanic nickname they've given him to. His real nickname is Bob or Bobby. Okay. So I think the truth is finally starting to come out about Robert Francis O'Rourke. And there will be finally, he agreed to 3 debates with Senator Cruz. So we'll get to hear his beliefs on policies, which are the complete antithesis of what Texas needs and what Texas stands for. Sean McGort says she's in hiding now. It seems to be that way. Terry Hilmer says they will cheat at the ballot box like here in California. One of the things that I came to learn, to understand, and I will continue to tell Republicans, you must win outside of the margin of cheating. Anytime you are within 2 points running against a Democrat, they're going to figure out a way to cheat. Norm Coleman experienced that in Minnesota. I experienced that down in South Florida, 2012. Brenda Bennett Loeb, dead people vote for Democrats, they cheat, period. Yeah, I know. I can't wait till when I die, I get to, still continue to vote. Bobby McCoy, thank you so much. I always try to be a great conservative in the same manner of Booker T. Washington. That's my ideological hero. A.D. Johnson, sunlight is the best disinfectant. You're correct, and that's how I say again, I'm so proud of what Chuck Grassley did in saying, come out, come before us in public, and let's sit down under oath, and you will answer questions. And I don't know if Dr. Ford wants to stand up to that scrutiny. It kind of goes back to one of the simple sayings I remember: be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. And I think right now the Democrats are trying to show a lot of hubris up front, but really they're scrambling. There will be no FBI investigation. And let me tell you something, Republicans, you guys got to stand up. Don't get bullied around. Don't cave, don't cower, or else you could feel consequences at the ballot box in November as well. Angela Coleman, sad for his kids and his parents. Absolutely right. And speaking of Judge Kavanaugh's parents, it seems that Dr. Ford's parents had to appear before Judge Kavanaugh's mother on a couple of occasions, a couple of cases up in Maryland. Like I say, the plot just thickens, and there's just too many backstories here. Pam Thompson, Texas deplorable here. You're not just a Texas deplorable. According to Vice President Biden, you're also a dreg of society. Yes, that's what he said over the weekend at a human rights campaign event. Okay, Kathy Hulon, what do you think about the recent Supreme Court ruling of teaching Islam in our schools? I have not seen that recent ruling from the Supreme Court. I have to go back and look at it. But I would just say this. If we are not allowed to teach the Judeo-Christian faith heritage, then why are we allowing any other faith to be taught in our schools? The left always comes out and talks about separation of church and state, which really they don't understand the meaning of what Thomas Jefferson wrote in that letter to the Danbury Baptist Convention, but that's the topic of another discussion. So if we can't teach Christ and Christianity, then we're not teaching anything else. So I have to read up about that. Jay Deja Vu Cassidy, y'all better get out there in November in even more numbers than in 2016. I have to tell you that when I look at what the left is doing, bringing out Barack Obama, Joe Biden, his comments about people being the dregs of society, this foolishness coming from Dianne Feinstein and the Senate Democrats and the Judiciary Committee, I think that what they're doing is they're going to cause an incredible backlash against him in November. And even though the Republicans can't seem to get their message right, the American people are going to show up. And if you don't, I'll take it up with you the following day from that first Tuesday in November. But I think the American people are going to show up. Gary Solander, who is paying this woman? Someone or some party certainly paid Stormy. Thank you for your service to this country, both in the military and in Congress. You know, like I say, follow the money. And it's funny how all of a sudden the Stormy Daniels thing, that's just kind of faded away. So I'm not so certain about the motives right now of Dr. Ford. Again, if you are so convicted about these allegations and these accusations that you've made against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, you should have immediately accepted the invitation to come and speak Monday before the Senate Judiciary Committee under oath. But as of this moment, no one has heard from Dr. Ford. No one has heard from her lawyer. Her lawyer seems to really like going on CNN and MSNBC, but for whatever reason, she's not responding to the calls that have been made, reference the invitation to come and speak, testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Roxanne Flores, Mr. West, I love to listen to you. I'm so glad you've come back into my Facebook page. I hadn't seen you for a while. Good to see you. The Old School Patriot, that's where you follow us, theoldschoolpatriot.com, here on this Facebook page. All the other stuff that has my name on it, it ain't me, folks, okay? If you want to know about me, come right here, theoldschoolpatriot.com. Let all of your friends know. And again, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death. My second book comes out October the 16th. You can pre-order it now on Amazon. Are the elections going to be free from fraud? That's Mark Spinelli. I think the most important thing about the elections coming up, just the same as the Democrats have their legions of people out there, we need to take a day off from work probably. And we need to have folks that are out there at these polling sites and they're looking for any nefarious actions and behaviors. And we need to have a system by which we can report that up. Just the same as when you're in combat, the squad can report to the platoon reports to the company to the battalion to the regiment, to the brigade up to the division to the corps. We need to have that chain of communications so that we can quickly get a response to anything that we see that is not keeping with free and fair elections. Let's see. Emmys attack. The Emmys attack the Christians again. Gary Greenhill. See, I got to tell you, I didn't even watch the Emmys. I don't watch any more of these award programs because I don't know. I mean, I don't get anything out of it. All they do is, you know, it's become a political platform. But just remember this, that if the other side ever gets control of this country, then those elitists in the entertainment industry, in the political arena, in media, in academia, in our culture, will look down upon you. When they call you deplorables, when they call you the dregs of society, that's truly how they feel about you. They feel that you're not worthy to walk along the sidewalk with them. They don't see you as being an equal American. They don't see you as an individual. They see you as something worse than that stuff that gets stuck on the bottom of their shoe. I would like for you all to take time maybe between now and the midterm election. Read the book by Frederick Hayek called The Road to Serfdom. That's how they see us. It's just serfs, just people that are there for their pleasure. And it just drives them crazy right now that they're not empowered, that they're not in control, that they're about to lose the Supreme Court. That's why they're pulling out all the stops to damage the reputation of a good man, Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Okay, last couple of questions. Jesus beat the devil with his big ugly stick. Yeah, he did. And so I think we need to keep praying because there's some evil here in the United States of America, and we need the blessings of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I always remember, as it says in Romans, I believe chapter 8, if God be for us, who can be against us? We need to make sure that we're praying for his strength, for his courage, for the wisdom and discernment to stand up against the evil in these times. And as it was said of, Esther, I believe that there are many of you that are out there listening to my voice or not listening, but there are many of you that were made for a time such as this. And that's why, as it was once said, we are in a crisis. But these are the times that do indeed try men's souls. Don't be a summer soldier. Don't be a sunshine patriot. Because if you stand, you will have earned and you will deserve the love and admiration of all men and women. All right, a couple more questions. Christine Blasey Ford, her story just got bigger. She does not remember what year this happened. She does not remember where this happened. See, I'm telling you, it just it gets deeper and deeper. And if you can't not remember what year or where this happened, I mean, your story's starting to fall apart. Remember this this therapy session she went to. Initially, it was supposedly 4 people. That's what was written in the report. Now it's 2 people. And out of the 2 people, one person has already said he doesn't remember it ever happening. And then the other person says it never happened. And now we have the person that's making the accusation based upon what I just read here saying that she doesn't remember what year or where. Oh boy. This is really going to be ugly for the Democrats. It really is. But like one of the persons said, sunlight is the best disinfectant. All right, Deborah McNally, ready for you to run for office? I'll be running tomorrow morning about 3 or 4 miles, Deborah. So if you want, get over to Dallas, Texas. We can run a little bit around the neighborhood together. Harry Christensen, Ford needs to sign a release of all her records for transparency purposes if she wants to proceed. If not, it never happened, and put the vote forward. You're right. I mean, it's very amazing to me that people are saying that there's some burden of proof on Judge Kavanaugh. I really think the burden of proof is on the person laying down these accusations and these allegations. And I believe that's why she's not answering any phone calls from the Senate Judiciary Committee. Betty Barrett, Road to what? Road to Serfdom, SERFDOM. It was a book written by Frederick Hayek, Hayek. It's a good book to read. Last question. Ryan Miller, I am no one's serf. They'll get me in a rush, but a lot of them will go before me. That's the American spirit, brother. And that's the spirit that enabled us to become these great United States of America. That's the spirit of the Minutemen who took the field on April the 19th of 1775 in Lexington Green. And all of you, keep that spirit. Keep that spirit that says that you will not take this country away. But understand the desperation of the other side, understand the darkness in their hearts, understand the evil that they will enact against anyone. Remember that the Constitution says that the legislative body, the legislative branch, is supposed to advise and consent against the Article 2 nominations, the enumerated power to nominate Supreme Court justices, Article 3, the judicial branch. What we see happening today are the Democrats not advising and consenting. We see them attacking and condemning. And ask yourself, when Barack Obama nominated Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan, was all this drama happening and surrounding them? No. But we know what happened with Robert Bork. We know what happened with Clarence Thomas. And we see now what is happening with Brett Kavanaugh. Never forget this, and remember it as you prepare to head to the ballot box in November. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Steadfast and loyal. Have a great night.